Hello there, I'm the base manager and welcome back to Space Engineers. Now, today I think we are going to take a break from building our platform over here. It is somewhat functional, so I think we can move on to other things, and besides, we have nothing to put in here. So why build a parking spot if we don't have anything to park on it, right? That's at least what I was thinking, and maybe, just maybe, we could take care of building the hybrid Atmos thruster slash hydrogen thruster flying vehicle today, or at least get started on something. Of course, that just like the Firefly, it's going to go through several iterations until it is quote-unquote ready to go, right? But before we go there, I just wanted to show you something. As you guys know, I usually do some grinding in between episodes, and well, lately some of that grinding also includes welding blocks left behind by past me, and you know, doing slight improvements here and there. That's well, where this comes from. Um, During these two episodes, I just wanted to experiment with something. I never used timer blocks before, and I thought to myself, if there is anything that I'm ever going to use timer blocks on, I think this is it. So I just went ahead and I welded a couple of timer blocks over here, and I fiddled around a little bit to obtain something slightly more automatic. So let's see what have I done. But first, I mean, let's call in the transport. Nope. And this one, right? Right, here it comes. I still am not used to the bottom scheme on this one, so that's why I was a little bit confused. But yeah, the idea for this button is why should we go towards the mountain when we can have the mountain come towards us? So let's just wait for the platform to be in line. Here it comes, pretty cool. Now, in this panel, this one turns the pistons on off, one extends the pistons, the other one retracts them. Let's just pay some attention. I think this is good enough, right? Let's check the alignment. I placed this block over here to help me out. I think the connector is pretty well aligned, cool. Now let's come back over here. Now, using timer blocks, you know, we were using this setup before, this button panel, with which we can control all the movement of that train over there. But you know, we have to press a lot of buttons, and I'm lazy. I don't like pressing buttons. I like to press one button and then have everything be done almost by itself, right? So that's where this comes in. If we press this button, the extend button, we will see that the crane will pretty much put itself in place without me having to do anything. Well, at least just putting itself in place, because locking things into place and you know, activating the mag plates and the connectors, that is still going to be done by hand because I don't trust it. But there we go. See? The mag plate is auto-locking by itself, I think. I think the mag plate is on. I haven't completely tested this before, but if I had to guess, I would say, yeah, it is locked. Alright. So we don't even need to press the unlock thingy. But in any case, now we have a sign over here warning us never to forget to turn off the auto lock and to unlock the vehicle from the platform, which is a good reminder, because I usually like to do that kind of things. Auto lock off, switch lock, there we go. Okay. Plate still on. Now, if we go over here and press the retract, everything should go the other way.
Energy low.
Oh, come on, Susan, you're trying to ruin my moment. I hate when you do that. But we can wait a little bit more. Out of here. Ruining the scene. And as we can see, the crane once again does pretty much the same, but in reverse. Now, bam! We have a yellow color, which means we can come over here and lock that thing into place. Fan-freaking-tastic. Now let me just recharge my energy so that Susan stops being annoying. Okay, so with my energy recharged, I can now show you how is this achieved. It's actually pretty simple. Just had to fiddle with it a little bit. But in here we have 6 timer blocks, right? Pretty much the way this works is a timer block will do an action after a set amount of time, right? You can set up to 9 actions to go all at once. And the way this works is, once I press the extend button, right, after 1 second, the timer block will trigger the piston C1 bottom, and it's going to extend it. It's going to trigger that light, and it's going to trigger the timer block number 1. Once triggered, the timer block number 1 is going to wait 5 seconds, and then it's going to trigger these 2 actions, which is going to be extend the pistons and trigger timer block number 2. Then we move into timer block number 2, which after 20 seconds is going to tell the C1 bottom piston to retract, putting the Firefly in the platform, right? And that signals the end of that action, of the extend action. And then, and then the other 3 timer blocks are pretty much the same, just in reverse, right? The 3 after 1 second is going to extend, trigger number 4 after 5 seconds is going to retract the pistons and trigger number 5. Number 5 after 22 seconds, and I placed 22 instead of 20 because, you know, given that the pistons are carrying weight, I suppose they are a little bit slower, but, you know, it's just for safety. And then number 5 is just going to shut off the light and put the Firefly back in its place. Now, that magnetic plate automatically locking into place, that was not to be, because I want to do the locking of the magnetic plate and connector manually, just in case things are not aligned perfectly, you know. I kind of want to have that autonomy. Otherwise I could just add another timer block which would, you know, do that for me. I also placed this in here as an emergency shut-off system. Should I, you know, press any of these buttons while things are still attached, I just press that button and everything is turned off. Then I can use these 2 buttons to figure out what I need to do. Okay, so now let's do just this in reverse, and let me turn off the auto lock in the magnetic plate. Auto lock off. Forgot to do that. Very important on the putting the Firefly in place. So pretty much now we just disconnect the connector, we press extend, and there she goes back into the trolley. I'm going to put it back into the trolley because, well, this vehicle is constantly needed, so I kind of just like to have it in standby just in case. Now, this is the first time that I am actually transporting the Firefly. I just quickly tested this before, just to make sure that everything was going the right way. I don't want to do a lot of things by myself. Now we go over here, we turn on auto lock, the Firefly is locked in place. We shut off the magnetic plate, and then we retract the crane back into its place so that it is out of the way. Cool. Now, this took me like 10 minutes for something super simple, but in any case, guys, I think this is an improvement on our previous setup. But I think that now that this very simple thing is explained, I should move on to other things. So, now I think it is time for us to start working on that hybrid, that Atmo/H2 hybrid vehicle. I kind of want to make an exploration vehicle capable of both exploring our surroundings and space, Because if we want to get into space, one of the things that we need to find once we get there is an ice asteroid, so we can set up a temporary base, or in this case a refueling station, so that our vehicles can refuel once they get into orbit, because it takes a little bit of fuel to get there, so it's always useful to be able to resupply in space. But yeah, for that we need to find said thing, so let me just place a few blocks so that we can have a basic chassis design, and then we'll see where we go from here. Okay, my friends, I think I came up with the design for the engine cluster in the back. So just like the Firefly, we're going to have an engine cluster on the back, right? This would be the equivalent of this part in the Firefly, right? Except that our main engine is going to be an hydro engine with two small atmospheric engines just to give us atmospheric maneuvering. It's not going to be the fastest ship in atmospheric flight only, but we have the hydrogen engine if we need to give it a little bit more speed. And then over here we have all the directions, once again for both hydrogen and atmospheric thrusters. We are going to put the side thruster right there, but we need to weld this first, otherwise we don't have access to it. I also placed this one block away from the main hydrogen tank, because I kind of want to put a little bit of armor around it. On the back is not going to be completely possible, it's always going to be a little bit exposed because of the engine, but that's, you know, this is not supposed to be a combat vehicle anyway, it's just that if we can have a little bit of armor on the side, should we get attacked and I not realize that we are being followed or something. But in any case, now I'm just going to weld this so that I can continue building forward, because anything else that we add on top of this is going to reduce our access to other things. So just to make sure that I don't end up with engines that don't work because the conveyors are not connected, let me just weld a few things. Okay, my friends, so with the engine cluster built, I can now focus on the forward part. We still need to add a couple of batteries, a lot of downward thrust to keep us lifted in the air in atmospheric mode only, but I think I'm going to leave those in the middle. Maybe a couple of large engines might do the trick. And then we are going to do another engine cluster on the front cockpit, and we are going to call it a day. Now, when it comes to logistics, this thing doesn't really... it's not super important that we keep the large ports, because hydrogen can travel through the small ports, so we can use only small pipes going all the way from here to the front, just to save on space. Now, one way to do that would be to attach a oxygen tank over here, because guess what? We still need oxygen in space, so oxygen tank kind of important, and because this thing has a large port on one side and two small ports on the other, we can just convert the grid, the logistics that way, and then just use these small pipes all the way toward until we get to the large hydrogen tank that we are going to place over here. Maybe we don't even place a large hydrogen tank, we just place a couple of small hydrogen tanks, just to give us a little bit more capacity. And yeah, because this thing is supposed to be a light vehicle, so we might not need a lot of fuel for it. One large tank plus a few extra small ones might just do the trick. Okay, my friends, so the frontal part of this craft is going to be something like this. We are going to put the engines in the middle, the large ones, I mean the large atmospheric thrusters are going to stay in the middle to provide us with the lift in atmospheric situations, and then we are going to have the quote-unquote wings carry the fuel for us in the front, just like airplanes in real life carry the fuel on their wings. I think this craft can also carry a little bit. Now I only made one wing because, well, I need to weld the middle bits before I make the second wing, otherwise I won't be able to access those components. Right, and then I am just trying to figure out how the armor is going to look like, but I figured that we are going to try and bring some armor from the back, wrap around these engines, and then come down into the wings, where we are going to try our best to cover all of these bits. Alright, my friends, so with this quote-unquote wing welded, this side welded, I will now replicate the same on the other side. I think that when it comes to battery power, 6 batteries are going to be enough. If we absolutely need to, we can add another one on the top over here. But if not, I'm just going to fill up that area with blocks, as blocks are a little bit lighter. And yeah, we're going to have the connector right here. I have this conveyor frame just to put the connector a little bit downwards, and then we'll attach the landing gears to the armor blocks. Now, I believe we also need gyroscopes. That would be a very good idea to add a couple of these somewhere around here as well. Hopefully, let's try to find a place where we can hit them. And other than that, I think that's it. I might just leave one port open so I can temporarily build a hydrogen, oxygen/hydrogen generator, so that we can produce a little bit of hydrogen for our vehicle, so that we can just park it somewhere once we remove this pole over here. We don't want the vehicle to fall on the floor now, do we? Very well, my friends. Most of the skeleton part is now welded. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure this is now a functional vehicle. Not super functional, truth be told. There is still a few atmospheric thrusters that I would like to add. However, I have to do that in a later stage once I see how the armor blocks are going to line up. I want to give it a little bit more braking force, and also probably extend one of these pipes. I'm going to cut it off, make a conveyor junction, and add another pipe to add a few more braking hydrogen thrusters over here on the front. It's either that or I'm going to bring it through here. One of the two. But all of that is dependent on how the armor blocks are going to sit on top of this. So, with that in mind, I will have to lay down a billion armor blocks. I don't even know where to start, so I better just start. But before I go, just to show you up, this is where I'm going to put the ore detector, a small one. We will have to get very close to the asteroids, but it's going to tell us the composition of the asteroids anyway. A beacon and 4 gyroscopes should give us all the maneuverability that we will require for this vessel. Once again, I don't think this is going to be very heavy, or at least I'm not hoping that it's going to be very heavy, because the hydrogen doesn't weigh anything, and well, I have less engines than the Firefly, and the Firefly is not that heavy, so yeah, I'm hoping that at least this is enough you know, lift to keep the vessel in the air without hydrogen engines. If not, oh well, it is life, I suppose. friends, I think this is as much armor as I am willing to put on it. Oh, hello. There you go, another cow grinder. But in any case, guys, this is the exploration vehicle that I was talking about. Not exactly the way I envision it, but I think it is functional enough. Just like the Firefly, this vehicle is going to go through several iterations. Right now it's looking a little bit blocky, but as time goes on, I'll chop a piece here, add a piece there, and eventually it's going to look much better. I'm not going to take it any further because, well, I want to test it out first, and then we'll see what kind of modifications are needed. But in any case, I believe I have all the directions necessary when it comes to thrusters. I have, now that I look at it, maybe I have a little bit too much braking thrusters on the front, but well, that's fine. We have 5 to brake, 3 to go side to side, and a big 1 plus 2 to go forward when it comes to hydrogen engines. Pushing down we have 6, but in space, truth be told, we don't need a lot. And pushing up we also have 6. Now when it comes to atmospheric thrusters, we have 4 tiny ones on the back. Speed is not going to be its thing, but we can always activate the hydrogen engine should we want to accelerate anymore. We have 4 large atmospheric thrusters to give us lift, plus a few tiny little ones spread here and there. I believe it is just these 2. Then sideways we have 1 right there, another 1 right there, tucked in underneath the wing, hidden away. And and we have another one over here and another one over here. And for braking thrusters we have 4 of them on the front. That covers the braking side of things. Now, when it comes to armor, I was welding this and I was thinking, why am I going to cover all of this in armor? It's completely useless. Like, this thing gets shot once, it's gone. Armor is mostly a suggestion than anything else, so yeah, it's not even worth to completely armor up this entire thing. Just a little bit more as a decoration than anything else. Yeah, that's when it comes to armor, that's my theory behind it. Now, other than that, we have the gyros, we have a beacon, we have pretty much everything. So I figured that we should be ready to unlock this thing soon. I just have to go through all the thrusters, rename them, create groups and stuff like that, because if we go out if we cut that pipe right now, everything is going to fall and explode, and we don't want that. So yeah, also I will have to add the connector over there. I'll have to bring the Firefly out to remove the crate, and then I'm going to land the vehicle over here because we need to refuel, and right now this is the only port that we have available for that purpose. So other than that, just give me a moment to go through my engines and we shall cut this loose soon enough. Yeah, creating groups while we are still attached is a tad bit difficult. I just went around and turned on all of the thrusters, so if anything is going to go out, it's now... this part is always stressful, but here goes nothing. Okay, once again, here goes nothing. Ah, come on, just grind that thing. Jesus. See? It's stable. And now I can finally get inside of the cockpit and create some freaking groups, because now it's going to be much easier. So I may have unwelded this a little bit too soon. I am going to build that landing gear so that we can put this thing down before I completely run out of power on it. So let me just gently bring it down, because we still don't know its flying capabilities. Perfect, I can turn off the engines for now. Cool, now that the Firefly is out, let me just remove that crate out of the way so that we can finally land that thing and refill it. Okay, my friends, so with both things out of the way, let's try and park this thing on that connector. To refuel it, first let's turn on the engines. We don't have a lot of power in the batteries, so we must be quick about it. Let's unlock. And, oh, yeah, it's locked again, of course. Can I get a little bit closer, please? Thank you. Now we don't, like I said, we don't have a lot of power in this thing. That's why I kind of want to connect it so I can recharge the batteries quickly. Also, I can recharge the batteries while we are refilling the fuel tanks. So let's just line this one up. I believe the camera is in front of the connector, so I have to go like this. There we go. Now that we have connection, let's get out of the camera view. Let's turn on the recharge on the batteries and let's refill those fuel tanks. We should see that hydrogen starting to go up. We should also place something similar for the oxygen tanks. So let's like this. We have this one. I want to turn on stockpile, so let's go like this. That should start pulling the Bro, are you joking? I only have 19% fuel. No way. No freaking way. Yeah, game, you're lying to me. I knew we had more fuel. I don't understand what seems to be the issue now, but oh well. It's just a game being a troll. Well, I believe I found why the tank is not filling up, because that thing is built wrong. Of course. Of course. Oh well. I can fix this. Let me think. Well, there you go. Not exactly an elegant solution, but oh well. If you guys knew how much I hate this block, I get it constantly wrong with this block. Because yeah, I don't know why. I don't like it. We have to use it sometimes to do the conversion from large port to small port, but still, I hate it. I hate it so much. Now we are refilling. Thank you. Okay, so with 50% charge on all the batteries plus the tanks filled up with hydrogen, I think the time has come for us to do test flight on this thing. Let's see if we can get to space, do a little bit of exploration, and then come back with the charge slash hydrogen that we have aboard. Okay, so let's see. Turn on the engines, remove the batteries from recharge, remove the tank, the hydrogen tank from refill, and remove... that's already off, cool. So I think everything is ready. Yep. Let's unlock. And, well, let's see how far can the atmospheric engines take us. Okay, so going forward, upwards, and sideways, we get 50% energy use, so we have sufficient amount of batteries. And let's just go up until the atmospheric engines can't take it any longer, and then we'll just switch from atmospheric engines to hydrogen engines. And I should be just gently pressing the spacebar, like pressing a little bit, letting go, pressing a little bit, letting go, so that we save on the energy. Well, our Atmo engines are struggling now, so let's swap to hydrogen engines. And I'm going to remove the inertia dampeners. And I'm going to turn off the atmospheric engines now. So, let's keep on going. Okay, so at 17,000 meters we have only consumed 5% of our hydrogen, and we are already at 0.3 Gs of gravity, so we should soon escape the the gravitational influence of the planet, and well, at that point we have reached space. Hopefully I won't crash against any asteroids by going this way. You know what? I'm going to switch my orientation, and I'm going to use my main engine to burn upwards now. Okay, so we have some asteroids that are now spawning in. We have these two asteroids, and this one right in front of us appears to be, at least by its color, a nice asteroid. There is some piracy going on out there, but we are not interested in such things. We want to investigate that asteroid, so I'm going to head in that direction. Alright, my friends, I would say that we are on approach to this asteroid. I'm going to point to the side of it now, so that we don't crash straight into it. Because in space it's a little bit difficult to figure out distances, at least for me. But we are still within gravity. So let's turn on our braking thrusters now. Yeah, this is not a nice asteroid. That one over there might be, but we are going to explore this one, see if there is any resources on it. At first glance it really seemed like a nice asteroid because it was blue, or at least it seemed that way. Right now I say this is not exactly ice, all seems to be rock. Unfortunate. Oh wait, let me just clear off the asteroid so I can increase the range in my... Ooh, look what we found! Say that we found iron. I find it hard to believe that I am not at 50 meters. There we go, Jesus! So yeah, it is confirmed this one is a iron asteroid. There might be other resources. Let me create a GPS for it. You never know, while in space we might need some iron. Right? There we go. Let's move on to the next one and see what do we have over there. Hopefully some ice. I would like that. Well, I can tell you this one is not a nice asteroid because I can see an iron spot on top of it. A big iron spot. And maybe some nickel as well? Interesting. This one is interesting, to say the least. There is even a tunnel in it. Let's see if we get any lucky contenders in this cluster over here. That one over there, iron, so it's not an ice asteroid. I don't think any of them is an ice asteroid. Which kinda sucks. I really would like to find one sooner rather than later. If we can find that in one journey over here, that would be just fantastic. Oh, and by the way guys, we have escaped gravity. We are now in completely zero G environment, which is just fantastic. We have reached space for the first time in this playthrough. Great, now let's see if there is any ice in there. I don't think we are in luck. I see an iron spot over there, so the likelihood of having ice in here very, very low. Oh well. Let me brake a little bit and explore. Maybe there is a little bit of should I put it underground, quote-unquote, ice. And having an iron spot and an ice spot nearby could improve the speed at which we could construct said refueling station. So that would not be that bad if it was the case, of course. It is not ice, but at least this asteroid has two different materials in it, silicon and iron. Still not exactly what we are looking for, but I think I'm going to tag them because it might be useful in the future. Now, because we are closing in on the 50% mark for our fuel, I'm going to explore the asteroid right in front of us, and then I'm going to return home if I don't find any ice over there. And even if I do, I'm going to return home anyway. because I want to have a little bit more fuel for landing than I did coming back up, just because you never know the amount of maneuvering that you might need to do. Slowly and steadily I'll increase the travel time of this once I realize how much fuel do I need to come up and to go down and stuff like that. So far I believe 10% gets us up here, but that's about it. Now landing is a different story. I fear that we are out of luck. From here I can tell you this is not a nice asteroid. Definitely not a nice asteroid. Okay, I'm just going to quickly check that one over here to the right, because it's in our way anyway, so we might just take a look, maybe we get lucky. If not, I'm just going to do the re-entry and land this bad boy back on the platform to refuel it and have it ready to go once again. Well, my friends, it took us close to 4 minutes to get from space to here, but finally we have arrived. I already shut off the hydrogen engines. As we can see, we barely used any fuel. I could have explored a little bit longer, but it's better to be safe than sorry, at least for the first few journeys. Just going to refill it and then I'm going to take off in another direction and hopefully we'll get luckier. This time on finding that elusive ice asteroid. After a good recharge session, I think we are ready to go once again. So let me take off. I also was waiting for the fog to dissipate because, believe it or not, today is fog day apparently, because I've been in fog situations more often than not, so yeah. I think I'm going to go towards that direction now. I'm pointing forwards and upwards, so we move in a different direction. So for now I'm just going to take the Atmo thrusters for as long as they can push me, and then I'm going to switch into hydrogen once again. And would you look at that, we are already in space once again, and with our first asteroid in sight. I'm changing my direction to go over there. We're still under the influence of gravity, but that's fine. Well, it took me almost 5 minutes to get here. Are you going to give me something good, or not really? I don't think. Well, no ice and no visible resources. That kinda sucks. Wait, there is something over there. Stop! Stop right there. Let me go and take a look, because that looks like something. What is this? Uranium! Oh, okay. Okay. There is something useful in here after all. Let me tag this, because I'm pretty sure this is going to be useful. So, we are arriving at our next destination. Still no ice asteroid. Those pirates are getting me nervous as they are getting closer to our location, but I don't think they are coming for us. Just traveling in the same general direction. Now, is there anything of use over here? No, just because you don't have ice, that doesn't mean you don't have resources for us. Let's take a look. Well, I give it a good search all around and up and down, and I haven't found any resources on this asteroid, so complete bust. Where was the next asteroid that I wanted to go towards? That's the direction I already have been. There is an interesting cluster over there. Likelihood of finding ice increases if there is a lot of asteroids to search in a close by location, right? So I'm going to go for that one first over there, because it appears to be close, and then I will move towards the cluster. Well, from over here that really does look like ice. Okay, game? I know that I'm going to get close to it, and you're going to tell me it's rock. I'm just saying, from over here, it really does look like ice. I mean, that looks so much like ice that I cannot, like, retain my curiosity. That thing looked close, but I've been moving towards it for quite some time, and now this thing is right next to us, so I might just do a detour and check this one first. I'm just that curious to see if that really is rock or ice. Well, the closer I get, the less it looks like ice, but at the same time, it still looks blue to me. I don't know, maybe it's because I have the Flux thingy on. It's just a software that makes the colors on screen a little bit more warmer to help with the ice rain, you know? I'm curious, because this thing looks like freaking ice, bro. Yet it's not showing up anything. Oh, that a bit too close. Are you sure you're not ice? Yeah, that's not too close. Perspective in space. It's difficult. Get a little bit closer. Like, it's so shiny. Are you sure you're not ice? Yeah, you're sure. Nope, you're not sure. It's ice! Oh, I can't believe it. Let me just double check. Come on, mine a little bit. Yep. Okay, we have found the place we have been looking for, and it's not that far away from our base. Unfortunately, it is over 50 kilometers, which means we cannot access, if we place an antenna over here, we cannot access our base using the remote control. I believe the maximum range on the antennas are 50 kilometers. Can't be sure on that. Let's get closer to the main asteroid. I don't want to get... if I have to build a base, I'm not going to build it in the small asteroid. Right. I need to build it in the large one. Yeah, this is a decent size asteroid. There is plenty of ice for us to convert into hydrogen and oxygen. So I think I'm quite happy with our find. Our search is over. I'm just going to tag this location. Okay, my friends, with the ice asteroid tagged, we now know where we have to come once we decide to build the refueling station over here. That shouldn't be long. We should start working towards the space stage of the game relatively soon. Any upgrades that the base needs, we can do it, you know, slowly over time. Should probably focus on this next, because once we build a refueling station over here, we can then build like a refinery area and an assembly area. We can then use a drilling vehicle to go to all of these asteroids, collect a bunch of materials, and convert them into useful resources for us all over here in space. And yeah, because we are at zero gravity, we can create really large monstrosities of the flying type that can carry a lot more resources than our land-based one. So with that in mind, I think I'm going to make my way back home now. And yeah, I think that for the test flight, this was pretty successful. This vehicle passes the test. It is capable of doing what we want it to do, which is fly all the way to space, do a little bit of scouting here and there, be relatively fast, not super large. All of those checkbox can be ticked, and well, it's not the most beautiful thing ever, but we'll make it more presentable over time. Now, the only unfortunate thing for this, right, the distance that we have to travel between the asteroid and our main base, is that every journey is over 5 minutes. It's a little bit long. I can't go any faster, the game doesn't allow me to. So yeah, every single journey back and forward is 5 minutes, which means that the next time we come over here, we are not coming in this thing, in this flying vehicle. We need to build something capable of carrying a lot of resources. A sort of colonizing ship, if you know what I mean, like a ship, a large grid ship with at least one basic assembler and one basic refinery aboard, so that we could craft parts and a little bit of storage as well, so that we could carry some materials from our main base to the ice asteroid. That way we could minimize the travel time between the two spaces. If we only have to go back and forward a couple of times, that would be ideal. That is probably the best thing I can do. But with all of that said, guys, I have a long journey ahead of me, and I have recorded for a very long time now. So I would say that today's episode's objective, Jesus, has been achieved. We have created a craft capable of coming into space and explore for us. And with that in mind, we are going to call it over here. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episode and that you are enjoying the series so far. If you are, please consider subscribing and help the channel grow. But in the meantime, this is the Base Manager signing out. Bye bye.